Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.
Hello, hey fine folks, this is Freedom Fighter, and we have a impromptu call we just decided to do with the amazing, awesome, whistle wedding Bamby from London. She's had tremendous progress with wealth managers and banks within tier 1 banks within London, which is a very, very challenging banking system to penetrate until Bamby came along. What I mean by that is in London, with wealth managers, if you don't have your money up front, you're not able to meet with the wealth manager to establish those relationships, to begin those discussions in preparation for the exchange. Again, that was before Bamby came along. So we asked the beautiful lady, Bamby, to give us her time today. She's an amazing member in the Goldilocks tribe. She's helped several other members who are not within the United States and folks that are within the United States. Beautiful soul, great energy. We love her. And we asked her to give us her time. She just got home. So we're going to take some time with her briefly. We're not going to keep her too long. And Wiley, myself, will be bringing her on. And I believe she is here. Bamby, if you can unmute. There you go. I think I see you.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing great. How you doing, young lady?
I'm good. I've got a cup of tea in my hand, and
I can hear it. That's so you. So London.
There you go.
You got some crumpets as well?
Oh no, I've just had a cookie actually. I thought I'd better get something inside me.
I know you had a long day. It's probably what 8 in the evening. There?
No, it's 7. It's just gone 7. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, and our clocks went forward the other week, and so we've actually got the later evenings back now. So, and it's beautiful.
Gotcha.
It's the sun's come out, and it's like it's proper spring here now. You know.
Beautiful. I know you probably had a long day. We won't take up too much of your time.
That's okay.
But you posted in the room the other day. We were just so excited. You shared your latest update because you've had tremendous success with establishing your relationships. But you were also mentioning that you get these weekly emails from your wealth manager, pretty much touching base with you.
Yeah.
And this last email, I believe you stated. It referenced the tariffs, and folks around the world are learning now that Goldilocks, related to the RV, Goldilocks going back to October of 2021. The specific date was October the 8th, 2021, where Goldilocks began talking to folks saying, hey, it is the tariffs that we need to pay attention to related to the currencies that will revalue around the world, and watch the water, because it is on the water where currencies will move for their real values to go into effect, and it will come from tariffs. That was 5 years ago. I don't know. Did you did you listen to last Saturday? I shouldn't ask you this off
Mm-hmm.
the cuff, but when we showed the first article from October of 2021
I
with
did.
Goldilocks, you did.
Yep.
So were you shocked at all? If you were, fine. If you weren't, this is not a trick question, but how Goldilocks had shared and started posting about tariffs related to RV 5 years ago?
Honestly, blown away. I can't believe it. Yeah, I mean, I think somewhere, you know, somewhere in Guru Fufu land, you know, we always kind of thought that, you know, there was going to be some sort of level playing field, because let's face it, we've all, you know, we've all come from knowing what Nasara was, Nasara Jasara, and everything like that, and all about some sort of level playing field,
Right.
and that the poorer countries they would come up, but no, I had no idea that it would come in the form of tariffs. No idea.
And I'm glad you said that regarding leveling the playing field, because in 2017, when Trump was president during his first term, there was a reporter that asked him, and the specific, and I have the clip, and I have the actual clip. The reporter asked him, said, President Trump, how will you address the devaluation of currencies around the globe? His response was, we will level the playing field.
He did, yes.
And fast forward from 2017 to 2020. Oh, let's go from 2017 to then 4 years. From 2017 to then 2021. 4 years later, and it's Goldilocks that says tariffs will level the playing field. So then we fast forward to 2025. Trump, 2024, he's reelected as president. In 2024, November, takes office in January. He begins to implement digital asset executive orders and stating how we need digital assets to come into play in order for the new digital banking system. And here we are in April, just less than 100 days after he takes office, and he implements tariffs. And he stated that it's to level the playing field. And then also, there are two main negotiating tools and two main issues that President Trump stated why we need to level the playing field, and it must be through tariffs. Number one is currency manipulation. Because of currency manipulation, we must level the playing field through tariffs. And then number two is how the United States has been unjustly taking advantage of and ripped off by all these countries around the world through these tariffs. So I would love for you to share verbally with everyone what you shared in the room about the email that you got from your wealth manager there in London. About this, if you don't mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, so they shared their raw thoughts with me, and their situation summary, as they call it. So it was kind of pretty much based on along the lines of that they were worried that the market was much worse than what they'd been expecting, and they were very much aware how the media was pretty much mocking their methodology based on their ratio of imports / total trade, but remember, this was a couple of days ago, so they're saying it does look very, very poor. They did sum up what Scott Bessent has been kind of going around and discussing his views on everything, that the tariffs being a starting point for the negotiation, and that they can hopefully end up at zero. And he did go into say about Trump announcing the whole Vietnam and that whole agreement, and that was potentially was agreed to go to zero tariffs, and they were very much aware that this is where the relief will come from if it is coming. So that was the fact that they kind of are aware that that's where the relief is coming from.
Right.
This is what I was saying the other day, also in a post. It was like a game of hot and cold, you know. Sometimes they were like, you know, this is where the relief is coming from. But I was thinking, but you don't quite know just at this moment in time. But they're very much going on. They were aware in a roundabout way, though not saying about the level playing field. It was more about the countries falling into line on Team USA or not, as it were.
Okay, so that's how the media there is portraying it. You mean?
This is my team's summary.
Okay, from the wealth
they were
management
summing
firm.
up how Vietnam has caved. It looks like Saudi was going to as well. They spoke in depth about the oil prices crumbling, and the crude prices taking a double whammy. And they're wondering why Saudi would agree to this with the oil prices, and they're aware that there's bigger deal behind, you know, going on behind the scenes.
Right.
And they said ultimately this is about getting the ducks in line to deal with China. So they were very, and that was just before. So they were, and then obviously yesterday they had this tariff kind of standoff with China going on, with everybody else who's been put on the pause. So it's interesting that they were aware that, you know, that everybody else is getting lined up to deal with China, and then pretty much how bilateral trade imbalances doesn't matter that much. There's only one. Yeah, they're pretty much are aware that the surplus country is China, and it's not even mainly about the economics, but it's about the shipbuilding, the military, statecraft economics, and that this is a war. It's a profit, profit financial considerations, that this is important, to serve their strategic goals.
That's right.
So they went on to say it's why what looks like madness on the surface may not be when viewed through this lens. And so again, that was kind of quite telling,
because it's very orchestrated.
Yeah, it's very orchestrated. I mean, I think they see this. I think they see it, but it's but I'm not sure, because it's not in this summary. It's like they're there, but they haven't quite seen it yet. That's how I'm envisaging it. But they're looking at the coming weeks and the months. That, you know, there's very much headline driven, I guess.
Right.
To expect a lot of swings and roundabouts.
Right.
You know, the de-escalation and the markets bouncing. So. You know, they're quite they're not, and they're unsure about what Trump's going to do next. And you know, they're saying anybody predicting what Trump's next policy move is going to be is either fooling themselves or trying to fool others into believing they've got some sort of edge. And I'm thinking, well, hell, we've got some sort of edge. We've got Goldilocks and freedom with the edge. So yeah, they're looking at the sell-off. Was based on Friday, based on China's escalating trade war. They're looking at the big risks. We lean bearish on U.S. equities. They're looking at the capital war. U.S. putting 30% withholding tax on all foreign owners of U.S. assets, and it's very much U.S. driven. If the U.S. trade deficit is going to shrink and U.S. is demanding a lot of foreign direct investment, i.e. to the chip factories, and that's not fish and chips, by the way.
That's a staple in London, is fish and chips.
Exactly. So when they say chip factories, we know it's not. Then foreigners will have to fund this by selling US public listed equities. So technical selling, talking about CTAs, bad positions, structured products issued at higher levels can start creating more selling. They look at it. Michael Harnett from BOA, not too bearish here. He is big on Roe versus US trade. So their concerns here. they're not going. I think they realise that that they're not going to realistically going to dump equities, and the current environment aren't worth much. So they're pretty much, I think, that they're holding their ground, and
right.
even though volatility is likely to be much higher, they're basically advising that expect much bigger swings than in recent history, but which is the reality the reality of the world that we're in.
Right.
And if you're going to trade, try and trade this rather than hold your strategy. You need to get both the sell and the buyback right, and so they're pretty much holding their ground. But
right.
yeah, so it's quite interesting.
But it's key if people hear what Bamby is stating, that the wealth management firm in London is paying attention to. And she mentioned a very specific word, a specific term that goes back to what Goldilocks has been saying since 2021. And she mentioned trade. For example, folks, what is the World Trade Organization? This is a global organization where countries have agreed with one another through the World Trade Organization in order to trade amongst each other at specific prices. What's included in those trade prices and negotiations in the World Trade Organization? Tariffs. Because it is through trade on the water. This is why Goldilocks has always said, watch the water, because where do countries do trade? On the water. Where do countries negotiate tariffs? On the water, through trade. So when folks heard about Iraq and the World Trade Organization, they didn't realize that the World Trade Organization, that's watching the water, because all of these countries, and Iraq, of course, we know we are waiting for them to finalize everything with the World Trade Organization. And what is the number one issue of why Trump put these tariffs on all of these countries? Because of their trade practices. Tariffs, folks, is on trade. When countries trade goods and services, shipments on their ports back and forth amongst each other, it's through trade. What is Trump's big hit of a tariff, 100 and some odd % on China? That's through trade. Through Vietnam, trade. Iraq, everyone, trade. Tariffs are done through trade on the water. This is why Goldilocks has always said, watch the water. When everyone else has been telling people to watch Reno, to watch your back window, to watch the curtain in the bank flickering in the middle of the night, it must be something a rumbling and a tumbling with the RV. When they said watch Kurdistan oil agreement in the budget tables, it's always been to watch the water. So it is amazing that you're getting this feedback from your wealth manager, where they're sharing this with you. And not only, of course, they're sharing it with you personally. This is an email they're sharing to all of their clients. And exactly. So also, I'm not sure if you're aware, Bamby, but we have wealth managers here in the United States and with our members who have shared the same thing with them. As a matter of fact, you heard the call with this past Saturday with Procure Your Ram, her wealth manager that she met with at the nail salon. That sounds like something you would do. But but her wealth manager shared with her a newsletter from August of 2024 that the wealth management firm here in the United States sent out to their clients regarding tariffs in August of 2024.
Wow.
And there's other members who their wealth managers have also sent them emails to all of their clients about tariffs. and how tariffs will affect investments and growth.
Mm.
So we wanted to have this time with you, of course, not just to hear your lovely voice, but also to get your feedback from your wealth manager, because
Mm.
it's consistent and it's the same
Mm.
with what wealth managers here in the States are sharing
Mm.
with our members as well.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you were aware of that.
No, I wasn't aware. I find it absolutely fascinating, though, that after all this time, all these years, that that
Mhm.
that here we are now, and having everything that you and Goldilocks have done and Wiley over all these years, and it seems bizarre that it's all marrying up in real life. I think we've got so used to having all this kind of behind the curtain kind of that we're kind of
Right.
mad and bonkers, and this is just a pipe dream kind of thing, and our family and friends have fallen out with us because they think we're nuts. But it's surreal. It's absolutely surreal how this
Yeah.
is all marrying up in real life now, and it's mainstream, and it's not all in, as I feel that we've been in the shadows for so long.
Yeah.
It's like we really are. It's just marrying up. It's like timelines are converging, and that it's all becoming so very real now and within our
Right.
grasp, and
Right.
it's I have to pinch myself every day now that how bonkers this whole thing has been, and from
Right.
where
Right.
we've all come from to where we are here, and
Right.
it's happening in
Exactly.
real life.
Exactly.
And I know he's going to fall off his chair, but he's going to be, how did you know? He's going because I'm most of the time, the last 48 hours or so, I've been thinking there's so many stories, how I'm going to explain all this when the time comes, and how far,
Right.
how do I keep it short and sweet, because there's no short and
Right.
sweet, and how I
Right.
came to stumble upon all this years ago, just like everybody else, and the backstory.
Right.
I'm just gonna have to come up with something and stick to it, because it's like way too long,
Right.
oh goodness.
Beautiful. Well, let's get Wiley. Wiley, you want to jump in here, my good man? In fact, Wiley, I know you speak to Goldilocks quite often. I was when I was speaking to Goldilocks this morning, Wiley, something that Bamby just said reminded me of the conversation where I mentioned to Goldilocks this morning that everything that Goldilocks has been saying since 2021 regarding tariffs is now mainstream. Bamby just mentioned mainstream. It's in the mainstream. I just had that conversation. I said, wow, Goldilocks. I said, but now everything is mainstream, what you've been telling people for 5 years.
Yeah.
And here it is. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Goldilocks has been on this for quite a while, probably more so than I've heard anybody ever talk about it, because I've never really seen it before until he was bringing it up. Now I see others kind of latch on to it. But Bambi, in your newsletter, don't be misled that they know more than what they know, because they aren't a guru, and they're not just going to say things to you that they know to scare you or say things. They have to do things more of a measured approach.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know that because I've got bankers over there.
Right.
I got business there that I do, and trust me, they know far more. They see what's going on. They see a lot of things happening, a lot of things that they're able to do now that they weren't able to do before. So I think the conversations you might have with some of them, they're going to be shocked, like, "Ooh, you were a little more in tune than what we thought." But not all of their clients are going to be where you are. So usually when they put those newsletters out, it's very measured.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Bambi, your great buddy, and Wiley, our great good buddy, Track Junkie 66, your wealth manager in France, brought up tariffs as well, I believe. Track Junkie 66, if you can unmute. Okay, there you go. You got your toe in the water? Take your toe out the water, Track Junkie 66. And folks, Track Junkie 66, Bamby has done an amazing job and mentoring other folks. And Track Junkie, you can unmute now, my good friend, Track Junkie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I hadn't done that. Good evening.
Good evening. Doing all right? Good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Just putting my steel toe boots on.
What time is it in France?
It's dinner time. I'm just sitting here outside on the terrace having a glass of wine.
Well, you and your wine and Bamby her tea.
I know something's very wrong here.
Bamby, I got to ask you a question.
Go for it.
Did Freedom give you a baseball bat?
I didn't need to use it.
Oh, thank God for that. I'm safe.
My good buddy, you posted in the room yesterday that your wealth manager shared something with you about tariffs.
Yeah, it was the Swiss guys. Yeah, because I'm in France. I'm trying to build a relationship with private wealth managers in France, but as a sideline, it's a long story. I'm not going to tell you right now because it's too much.
Give us the short story because we've got a few more minutes and then we're done.
Okay. Went to Switzerland. I spoke to 2 wealth managers up there in a tier 1 Swiss bank. We're having long conversations, partly in English, partly in German. And towards the end of the 2-hour conversation, I wanted a fifth. So I said to him, how will the tariffs, this was about 1 week before the tariffs kicked in on the 2nd of April. I asked him, how will the tariffs affect my portfolio? And in an instant, absolutely no time to reflect, he said, everything taken into account. All has been taken into account. And the thing is, with the question we're asking ourselves now, guys, and I was actually going to post, I didn't realize you were doing this evening. I wanted to post, how long ago would these guys need to manage the portfolios for all their clients and take this into account?
You said, okay, I want to make sure I understand your question. You're asking how long ago? Repeat that question again.
Yes, how long ago would the banks need to know about this in order to adjust their portfolios for their clients?
Oh, it can be instant. It doesn't take long at all because they have prepared, the banks have prepared for this years in advance, especially with the new digital banking system. Everything is interconnected and everything is, like I always say, everything is connected to everything. So it's an instant. However, within the banking system, there are levels. So as the saying goes, there's levels to this. At the highest level of the banking system, there can be a group of people that will execute various strategies throughout the world, but their subordinates beneath them within the banking system won't be aware until the time comes for those at the top to let them know. Similar, and Wiley can speak to this very well. That's like in the military, where those at the higher ranks will know certain information regarding missions and won't let it be known unto subordinates until the mission is introduced. So within the banking system is very similar. There are things that they will implement, like this, for example, this whole entire global, this global RV is not even, when it comes to the banks, that's the highest level because they move the money around the world. But when it comes to those wealth managers, for example, that are hands-on with portfolios, they get it from the higher ups, boom, and they execute. So it doesn't take long at all. So they would have had this information. For example, at the level of where you will be dealing with wealth managers, they could get something on Monday, however, to implement, but those at the higher levels already knew about it years in advance.
Okay.
Does that
Freedom,
make sense?
yeah,
Yeah.
with that in mind, because I was really fascinated with what you were talking about dark pooling today at the end of your podcast.
Hmm.
Can you explain that a little bit more? Because
What?
it sounded like
Mhm.
it sounds like insider trading, but it clearly isn't. But how it's obviously legal.
It can
How
be. It's
and
it's
who
exactly.
manages this dark pooling? What's it got me a bit quite fascinated. I've never heard of
But
it before.
it actually can be considered legal
Right.
inside trading. That's what it can be. That's not what it's
So I
called,
was right.
but
Yeah.
right. Whereby what's there is a public agenda, just like in politics. There's a public agenda and a private agenda. And when it comes to dark pooling, there's a public agenda, which whereas your mainstream media gets the script to follow to bring to the masses, but it's the dark pooling behind the scenes, whereby everything is executed and planned and done sort of like in parallel, like a layer. What's done in the private, what's done in the public, but both dark pool behind the scenes and what's in the public, they still synchronize with each other.
Right. And it is
But
legal. Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
because see, and this even touches along the lines of um mm, with as fiduciaries, there's even levels to fiduciaries, where fiduciaries, like for example, wealth managers, traders, executives, they can sit down behind the scenes and discuss banking practices and things that they will implement, but they cannot discuss it with certain people within the banking industry that might be beneath them, again, until it's time for them to disclose it.
Right.
So, and it's actually to protect the banking system, which we, the people, are a part of the banking system.
Mm.
It's also to protect from proprietary information from being disclosed with other banking entities, people, or even countries, so that there isn't any attacks amongst each other. So, for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, within the United States banking system, there's plans to do something within the United States banking system, but there is a country that is an adversary to the United States. They're not going to want to let that information to get out to that country that is adversary or an enemy to the United States. So therefore, within the banking system within the U.S., they'll keep it tight-lipped until everything is secure enough for them to disclose it. So it's similar to where it comes in with dark pooling. Is there must be tight lips. I don't know what a good English term you will have that means tight-lipped, but whatever that might be, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So where they must protect the information until it's time for the information to be revealed, so that there is good execution of the plan. Like for example, with what we're seeing now with these tariffs, this is not something like Wiley just stated about the newsletter that you got from your firm. They've been known about the tariffs and what was coming. But even for some of them that didn't know, I guarantee you their higher ups knew.
Freedom.
Because go ahead.
May I ask a question? Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
These
Sure.
90 days, the 90-day pause, happens to take us to about the 2nd of July, which also happens to be this back date for the Basel III. Is that a coincidence?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, that's a part of the conversation that I had with Goldilocks this morning as well, about the timing of when Basel III goes into effect, the end game.
That's what I said to Spud as well. I said, isn't it funny? That's right. And just when Trump wants to do his July the 4th celebrations as well, it kind of all ties in rather nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we look at it, we can even look at it is as well very spiritual. As I truly believe, the RV is a spiritual RV before it is a financial RV. So everything is truly connected to
Yeah,
everything. Everything is divine under God's creation. So
absolutely.
when things are aligning like this in synchronicities of timing and things of that nature, no, it's no coincidence. You're absolutely right, Track. Good question.
Okay, thanks.
Hmm. All right,
If I
Wiley.
can, if I can,
Okay,
on
yeah,
Track
there you
Junkie's question he had earlier was
go.
that, mind you, that AI is being implemented at a lot of this banking structure and what's going on in the financial world and the wealth management stuff. And it is
Hmm.
far further along than most people really understand or truly know. And they're using a lot of that to do pre-predictions and models that can do them far faster in that than the human can. So sometimes they can put these models together so when they see trends, it can automatically adjust things.
Yeah,
Hmm.
great point. Thank you for adding that.
That's
That's
good.
right. Yeah, excellent. So I know that we only had a short period of time. Wiley and myself, we agreed to do this, Bambi, and we thank you so much, Track Junkie. Thank you as well. You came on and pretty much is saying the same thing. You're in France, Bambi's in London, and we have members here in the States all getting the same feedback from their wealth managers related to tariffs and how this moves the world markets and the money around the world. Yeah. Awesome. Wiley, did you want to add anything here? Are we good to go?
No, I think I'm good to go.
All right. Thank you both, Bambi or Track. While you guys here, did you have any more questions? We can just knock them out real quick before we go. Or are you good to go?
I'm good to go. Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you for that explanation,
Yes.
Dark Pool. I was going to be coming back in to ask you in the chat, and I think I got a much better answer in real
Yes.
life.
Yes. Beautiful. Well, thank you. I know you had a long day. You just got home not too long ago. Thank you for taking time out. And of course, as always,
Okay.
this will inspire so many around the world with your voice and your knowledge. You were so detailed. Did you have your notes in front of you during this call, or did you go all that stuff on top of your head?
No,
What was it?
I've got. That's why I was umming and erring and things, because I was trying to remember so much.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. All right, beautiful folks. We appreciate you all. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. The room will still be open until 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We can still have the party, of course, before the room closes. All right. Thank you all. Everyone have a good one. Ciao.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.